Good morning, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. What's happening, man? What'd you do this weekend?
Well, what did I do this weekend? A lot of nothing. There has been you know what? You were talking about these allergies. I am not a guy that gets allergies most of the time.
Yeah, me either.
I'm not. I just don't have those issues or problems. But for some reason or another, I have had this headache that has just been challenging. It's been a challenging headache. And it's been sinus related. And I just decided, with everything that's been going on and football season about to begin, or really has just begun.
Yep.
And I am going to be on location again this week. This week is in Iowa.
Okay.
Where we are going to be at the Field of Dreams.
Nice.
And so I decided to try to take it easy this weekend and not touch as many people as I normally touch when I go to these games. It sounds funny. I mean, we're laughing at this. You know what I mean? It's ha ha ha. But truth of the matter is that every weekend and every game, I will touch, just like literally physically touch, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 500 to 1,000 people each game.
Sure.
And it's you just don't know, like, what what are these people carrying? You know what I mean? It's
for sure.
It was a joke, back in 22 when I was told that they made me person zero when a biology class taught, learn, like, listen, if he was person zero with the amount of people that he says that he touches, how quickly would I have spread COVID throughout the world? And it was determined it was going to take about 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks.
That makes sense.
Because
then whoever you touch then touches their sphere. You wear a bubble. Yes.
Hey, listen, Joe, you know what? All I is I am literally, doesn't matter how much of a bubble I am. I know that it's 4 degrees of separation. Somehow, some way, a person I touch is touching you.
Well, that sounds dirty, but
that's why I tried to took it easy this weekend, and was very frustrated at the Phillies. Oh my Lord. It's like I have had yelling matches with the television.
Yeah.
They have a problem. The Phillies have a problem.
I feel your pain. Mine was predictable. I had been talking about it the entire season, and look at them showing out and just not being able to win a game. So I feel your pain.
But they are winning games with their starting pitching. Yeah. This was literally, it was funny I was talking to the ushers, the people that work at the stadium yesterday. I mean, I specifically was going around to them, because listen, they're the ones that are closest to the team without being really a part of the team. And that you could almost say that they are the biggest of the Phillies fans, because that's what happens. You're a Phillies fan, you aren't really working anywhere else, and then you decide that you want to be an usher. And you get to go watch these games. You get to see all of them. And you get paid to be there. And they said that this was one of the longest weeks they have had in years. watching the Phillies this week. That there were, first off, the heat. The heat doesn't help. I
Yep.
mean, it's just super hot. But like, I think it was like 5 games this week. The Phillies went into extra innings
Hmm.
and lost like 4 of them. And then to have like a couple of rain delays and so on and so forth. So there was
Some long
uh,
games.
some very long games, and it makes things harder. I can only imagine if the ushers are feeling this way. The players, of course, are feeling it a little bit, but the families also have to feel that the
Yeah.
families are like starting to wear on the players because they can't, like, that's a real thing. Like, these guys are still human beings. As much as I want to think that, and anybody can think that these guys are, hey, listen, they're getting paid to play. That's what they're doing. They're getting paid lots and lots of money to make some of the mistakes that they're making.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm wondering how much their families weigh on them and how much that compounds to create some of the issues that are creating, because they are a better team than this,
Yeah.
and we're watching them. I'm watching them fail
Mhm.
as badly as they are is frustrating, very frustrating. Like,
I guess that's the
Toronto's not a
difference.
good team.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference for the Mariners is this is who I thought they were. Like this is the team I was expecting.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes a little bit of sense. But you think about it, the Mariners last year went to the ALCS.
They did, but they also had career years from a couple of guys. And you're not going to do that year in and year out, right? Like when you see someone having a career year, you expect there to be a reset. Not necessarily the regression that Cal has had, but you expect him to go back to what he normally is in that 30, 35 home run, maybe 40 home run game, batting 212, right? Like that's what you expect him to be. You don't expect him to be batting 162 and have, 12 home runs on the year. So I didn't expect them to regress to where they are, but I didn't expect them to be where they were last year, just because, again, you had a couple of guys that had career years. You don't generally see that year in and year out unless your name's Aaron Judge.
Mhm. Okay, I could go along with that a little bit. It's like Cal is a little bit of an anomaly just because he was able to see the ball so well
Yeah.
and then stop. Like,
Yeah.
he's like the epitome of somebody who is trying to figure out what it was that he was doing so well
Hmm.
that now all of a sudden he's so bad about it. Like, the fact that the hand-eye coordination has changed so much and so dramatically from year to year. And I understand he's been hurt. So it's like, and
Yeah.
he's been hurt for a good number of weeks. And even if during those few weeks he would have had his hot streak where he hits, you know, 10 home runs in 18 games,
Yeah.
which is feasible when you're playing baseball. That's a home run
Yeah.
hitter is going to have those streaks.
For
So,
sure.
and 10 out of 18 games, it sounds like a lot, isn't a lot. You know what I mean? Because it's, when you're seeing the ball and you're in that groove, all of a sudden you're like, okay, this is what I'm used to. And he had a couple of those grooves last season,
Hmm.
so much so that he was able to hit 60.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he had 1 home run in the playoffs, the entire
Uh,
playoffs last year.
yeah. I think he had a couple, but still. Yeah.
and ultimately you could say that this slump started in the playoffs last year. And then it is kind of carried over, and he's still trying to figure out just how to get that swing back. And yeah, I always go back to that Pete Rose conversation. Move up, move back,
Exactly.
forward, backwards, that your swing is what got you there to the big leagues. And that swing got you 60 home runs last year. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a lot of home runs.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern is the fact that he's not making contact. It'd be one thing if you were hitting and you were just hitting two people, right? But at this point, like you're not even making contact, and that's the biggest issue. Um, Now, when he is making contact, it again is still two people, so that's not great either. But he has a ton of strikeouts this year, and he always did. But I mean, it seems like it's up. I haven't looked at the numbers exactly, but it just seems like it's up from, certainly a year ago, but really over the last couple of years.
I know that yesterday was one of the first times that I didn't paint up yesterday,
Okay.
which is rare for me to go to a Phillies game unpainted. And uh, I
Just too
sat
hot.
down at way too hot.
Yeah.
It was too hot, and I was still being cautious. Like it says,
Sure.
I don't know what's causing this, and I'm assuming, like I said, I don't have allergies. So the fact that I am having an allergy type of situation because I'm unsure of it, I just don't know. And I'm like,
Sure.
okay, I don't want I don't want to have everybody coming up and taking pictures with me.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just
that makes sense.
protecting.
Got to cue up the soundbite. It's not a tumor.
I'm protecting myself and them, just
Yeah, of
because I don't
course.
know and I don't know. And so getting to do that, I'm sitting there and I, I got to go back to a little bit of my roots on the Phillies. Like, hey, I can heckle a little bit. It's been a
Oh,
long
sure.
time since I've heckled. You know what I mean? It's been a long time since I'm like yelling stuff out there, going, "Hey, let's make something happen here. Let's go. I want to go home." You know what I mean? Like it's like kind
Yeah,
of doing that type of stuff, yelling at the referee or the umpire that he called a strike. He called a strike, and it really wasn't a swing. I thought it was a bad call on his part, and I yelled at him to stop looking at the guy on third's butt. You know what I mean? It's those are fun things. It actually the players hear that type of stuff. They do, and they do feed a little bit off of that energy. Um, and you try to get people moving. Like it's like, hey, listen, it's like I feel like I'm out of practice. Like I haven't yelled. I haven't been screaming a lot lately, so my voice hasn't been screaming. Like I don't have.
oh yeah.
I have to almost work into being loud again because I've been so quiet because I'm I haven't been a fan lately.
Yeah.
I have been the fan, but
Sure.
not a fan. And it makes me wonder because I've been doing some of that. I trust me that I know better than anybody else. I have no control of these games.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
nothing that I'm doing
Yep.
that's going to
Sway
turn
the
to an
game.
outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, listen, every once in a while I can heckle somebody, and by heckling that person, he's going to have a little, a misfire on something, and he may make an error or do something wrong
Sure.
because I have his attention a little bit. That's how I can affect a game in any, strategy.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'm not affecting the game, but maybe, and I've been saying this for a while now, it's the energy. And it's the energy in the ballpark, and it's the energy around this team, and
Sure.
that there isn't any.
No, that's
that they are not feeding off of. If you're feeding off of the ether ain't got nothing for you.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and you wonder, like the Boston Red Sox
Mhm.
right now. I mean, they are one of the best teams in baseball, winning games at a phenomenal pace.
Yes.
Hey, let's win 25 games in like 36 days or 34 days, something like that, something
Yeah.
crazy almost. Like it's
No, they're
that
killing
they're
it.
um and you wonder, like, the energy. Okay, is the energy different? Like, how is the energy different? It's like people just got excited. They started to win a couple of games. Next thing you know, uh, people are in the ballpark. They're cheering a little bit more, and they're doing a few things more, and so on and so forth. The Phillies last night, after the seventh inning, after Luzardo got pulled from that game, I counted. They booed outwardly about 6 times. May
Oh.
have been seven, but 6 times, specifically in the eighth inning, where we're up 5-2, and then we end the in eighth inning again, tied.
Mm.
Where it's like, for one reason or another, we can't keep a lead or like get the lead. We can have guys on base and do all the things we need to do, have bases loaded, and
Just can't close
to
one
me,
out.
oh my lord, they just cannot seem to get guys in. It's
Yeah.
like, how it's so frustrating to watch them have second and third with one out or no outs and nobody score.
Yeah.
Anyways, that all being said, watching Trey Turner go 0 for 6, I mean, that's frustrating. JT Realmuto going 0 for 6. Alec Boehm going 2 for 5, but those two hits aren't really much of anything. And every time he comes up to bat with, guys in scoring position, he's just, you know, horrible. It's like horrible. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's so I feel like that this away trip is worth. They need it. They need to get away. They need to figure out what's going on. The fact that I am going to be in Iowa to watch them do the Field of Dreams type of situation, I kind of hope that this is a Sandlot moment for them all.
Who are y'all
That
playing?
the Twins.
Oh, okay.
Which, that doesn't really hold any significance whatsoever. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, I was
Who
just
you're,
curious. I was just curious.
but like, but I want this to be like a Sandlot moment for them. Like, hey, listen, have you ever been to the Field of Dreams? I haven't.
No.
I
Mm.
wonder how many of these players have not.
I would
Like,
probably say most of them.
and then to go, okay, and say, now that you're there and you get to walk through the corn
Mhm.
to get into, to go onto this baseball field and such like that, and to have that type of experience, I hope sparks that energy a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I am going to be out there all day long. I'm
Yeah.
going to I am going to look very unique for this one. This is not your a normal situation. And unfortunately, Friday will not be here. I don't think I'm going to be here tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not sure. We may
Okay.
be. If I'm here tomorrow, I might be from the airport, which is not going to be very helpful for you.
Yeah.
Um,
Nah, the audio is always terrible there.
right. But uh that all being said, like, it's going to be like Wednesday and Thursday. It's like I'm going to be on Wednesday. I am going to be broadcasting in Eagles gear of all things, because we are going to be donating the money to the charity that won the poker tournament
Oh, cool.
during the draft. They were from
Well, I
Iowa.
mean, it's actually not that crazy because Thursday is when everybody else's preseason starts. So there's, quite a few games on Thursday.
Right. And it just so happens that I'm not going to watch any of those games
Yeah.
because I am going to be on Netflix.
Nice.
Yeah, you can only watch this game on Netflix at the Field of Dreams. So,
I got you. Right on.
uh, which was kind of funny when I mentioned this to Stateside Live, which is the big place. I'm like, hey, so do you guys have Netflix here? And they're like, hold on one second. Yeah, because I'm like, because there's also a concert that night, so there's going to be a lot of people there working. They're not going to be
Gotcha.
home watching the game, so they're gonna have to all come to work. And I'm like, well, hey, look for me on television. Are you going to be able to watch me on TV? Because I've never seen any Netflix here. They're saying that they will be able to get the game. That's not going to be a problem. But yeah, I mean, so it's going to be very
Yep.
interesting to see all that, and I need them to just be excited about playing baseball again. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the problem. They are just not excited to play,
Well,
and
I
it doesn't
mean,
matter what I say to make it any different.
no, I mean, if the energy isn't there, it just isn't there. And there's nothing one person's going to do to make that better. But um, there was some goofy stuff that did happen in baseball away from our teams. So the White Sox do 2 mound visits in 1 inning and end up having to get their starting pitcher out of there after 5 batters because it wasn't an injury. They just did a mound visit twice. And as soon as you do that, your pitcher has to go. And so 5 batters in, starting pitcher leaving the game. So there's a mental breakdown by your manager.
Not paying attention, just somebody who decided he took too quick of a step. That second mound visit,
Yep.
I'm sure he didn't have anybody else ready.
Nope. Nope. It actually ended up working out for him because in the moment, right? Like for the rest of the game, like it wasn't great. You lost your starter, right? But the umpires were like, hey, he's got to go, but he has to pitch to this one, and then was like, oh, never mind, he has to go now. But in all of that time trying to figure out exactly how that's supposed to work, they got their bullpen ready to go. So they ended up being fine. But it's happening, Chad. But yeah, it was just funny. It was like, oh, 5 batters in, that's rough because that whatever plan you had is gone.
Yeah, at least when it comes to the pitching, I mean, you make it a bullpen game, which is not so crazy. You know what I mean? Ultimately, there's a lot of bullpen games that happen anymore, unless you're the Dodgers, who have 9, starting pitchers. Uh, you know, even
Yeah.
the bullpen game is a starting pitcher. So I, yeah, I get it. That it's but I wonder, like, what's the thought process? Like, okay, you have their first mound visit, and then they go out there for the second mound visit, and doesn't the manager know he's not supposed to do that, or is it
Well,
one of those things that he decided to come out and then realized, like, he stepped onto the dirt, and then you realize, and you're like, oh,
no, no,
yeah,
no.
you
He
can't
walked
turn
all the
away.
way out there. Yeah, no, it was just a mental mistake. Like he walked all the way out there. So it was yeah. But it was the White Sox, right? So it's something you would have expected them to do the last few years, but they're playing good baseball this year. And so seeing stuff like that, you're like, oh, some of what we're used to seeing still creeping in there.
Managers with rookie mistakes.
Yep.
Did they wind
So
up winning the game?
I don't know. I didn't end up watching the rest of the game. I actually only caught the beginning of it. And I was like, oh, this is about to be a weird game. And then I had to leave.
Gotcha.
But so
Well,
I at least got to watch the goofy part live. And then, but yeah, after that, I had to go. And so I didn't see how it turned out. But
so before we get into anything that I want to talk about the NBA,
okay. Well,
because
before we do NBA, let's do some WNBA.
That's where I was going to go. I was actually going to pre-lead you to this because there's a lot happening in the WNBA right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of it's not on the court. They're creating a lot of noise away from the court, and it all stems from the trans conversation that we had a week ago. So that's where it's all starting. Now the Storm are home, so I'm going to be at the game tonight, and they are 6-25, so I believe they are officially eliminated from playoff contention now, and so that's going to be interesting to see if there's any drop off in attendance, because their attendance has been amazing despite the fact that they have not been particularly good this year. They've been exciting, they just can't seem to close a game out. So we'll see if attendance continues to stay where it is. But with only, I think, 10 games left, 6 of them at home, I don't know where they get their next win. So there is that. That being said, they did win. Hey, how about that? The Sox. So this trans conversation is very interesting because, again, we weren't saying it was an equality thing or anything like that, right? Like we were saying we don't want, what I was saying, that I don't want them setting women's records, stuff like that, right? Like, because that's obviously an unfair advantage to a biological male. Well, now you had players more going after the human rights end of it, which is not what the issue is, but saying, hey, we welcome trans athletes. And so you end up with a couple of these ex-NBA players that are like, okay, well, based on your description, I'll come play. And now there's a committee that was assembled yesterday, I believe, to determine what a WNBA athlete actually looks like. The fact that we need to do that is a problem. So, but we'll see what that becomes, because then all of a sudden it can be divisive. So is it only trans athletes that you decide are okay? Right? Because this one's smaller so they can play, but this one was an ex-NBA player so they can't. Like, all of a sudden you're putting yourself in some very hot water.
Doesn't this all stem from the human in France? I'm starting to refer them as a human being. They're a human person. I won't say whether they're male or female, but
Sure.
there is a player in the French WNBA or whatever it is out there.
Yep.
That is eligible for the draft.
Correct.
And this human is destroying the league out there.
Which, of course.
And for all intents and purposes, they look male.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is if you have that level of athlete, like they're going to dominate the W. Like, it just is what it is. Because again, biological males are just built different, bigger, stronger, generally. So, and then once you get into the, elite athlete type of range, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they try and toe this line now. I mean, you open Pandora's box, and now you get what you get. But
I have an answer to this, actually.
Yeah, what do you got?
You got to make it the 7-year system. They have to be that gender for 7 years.
Okay.
So ultimately, like in the perfect scenario of this, an 18-year-old male who wants to transition would have to wait 7 years before they were able to play they have to live 7 years as a female. I'm saying 7 years and not 5 years because I feel that in 5 years' time, like, yeah, 5 years isn't enough. 5 years isn't enough. You have to live 7 years. You have to live 7 years. And I'm coming up with that number because I feel that that gives you full amount of time living as that gender.
Sure.
Like you may have lived like that before, and it's what have you. And listen, I wasn't the one. I'm not God. I'm not the one that had you born
Whatever way.
one way and wanting to transition to the other way. So don't put that on me.
Yeah.
However, I'm in firm belief that nobody should be allowed to transition until their 18th birthday. And I understand there's exceptions to those rules, and I'm trying to be as human as possible here, but I feel that I would never want a 16-year-old to make a decision that they
Yeah.
may decide to regret later.
Sure.
So you need them to fully understand the weight of their decision so that when that decision gets made that they can continue on. There's enough going on mentally with a transgender human
Yeah.
that is creating strife, inner strife, outer strife, lots of strife
Sure.
for a transgender. So I'm trying to be human in the midst of this. I'm also trying to not infringe on other humans' rights.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, and that's why I think the argument for this is, some people took it as it's an infringement on their ability to compete, right? And I get it, but the thing is I mean, you're
We're not
again
infringing
biological.
on the right to competition. You're
Just
able
the
to
league.
compete. You just cannot. I feel that you cannot, as a guy, you just cannot decide that you're going to identify as a female. I mean, because ultimately these lines are very, very skewed,
Yeah.
and that's the problem with some of this. I mean, it's like initially I will say that there is a certain group of people that feel that this is um, more of a perversion than anything else. We're
Sure.
not talking about that part. That's not
Yeah.
that's not what I, I'm dismissing that in total. In fact,
Yeah.
in the regards of this, that this isn't a perversion, that this is a mental thing. Like they what for whatever reason
Yeah.
they are feeling and acting, and there could be scientific proof on all that stuff. I'm not a scientist either. However, the reason why I go with the 7 years is because I feel that that gives them the full opportunity to live their lives as transitions. They can
Mhm.
understand how their body operates, and they could operate and physically, do everything that they're doing as the other gender.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And Donna, you know, I think you just have to pick a benchmark, not have little caveats for if you'd done surgery or whatever. I think you just have a blanket, one size fits all. If you're doing this, to do, otherwise you could actually force people into some surgeries if they wanted to jump the line, so to speak. So,
And and listen, the surgery is the start date as far as I'm concerned, Donna. Like that's really the start date when they may have lived beforehand, but at are we going to allow, and this is the question, this is the real question, Donna, out of all of this, is that are you going to allow a biological male who identifies as female
mhm.
play in a sport that's supposed to be female only?
Yeah, because I mean,
And that's the question.
if LeBron switches over, he's averaging 56 a night, like
You
even at
know, it's
41.
and I mean, they wanted to have the conversation about having the women's all-star team go up against a 14-year-old boys high school team,
Yeah,
uh, and to see who would win. And the truth of the matter is that even at that level, I still think, the question is that the 14-year-old boys would probably win. I know that it happened in soccer.
yeah,
When they were playing soccer, when the 14 and under boys went up against the women's national team, the 14 and under boys won handily. I think it was like 6-0. You could say, oh, well, this was just hey, the girls
scrimmage.
could have quit, they could have done whatever. It's
Yeah,
there's lots of ways to go about that, but the truth of the matter is that it, Billie Jean King at the top of her game went up against a guy who was like 8 years removed from the sport, and that was a big deal then.
yeah,
This is different. We're talking about this now, and we're seeing it in real time in France at the moment.
yeah,
We're watching a guy, because I'm not sure that he's 100% transitioned. I don't know that has happened yet. I to be honest, I don't really care, because ultimately he is still, um, his all of his features show male,
yeah.
minus his
Yeah,
hair.
and I mean that's the thing, right? Like you don't want to infringe on any human rights, but that's not really what we're talking about here. I mean, we're talking about a women's only sport, um, and and again, you're talking about potentially having having biological men setting women's records that they may never touch. So that's I don't know.
Well, and I'm talking about. The biggest question was what they're going to do about the draft. Now, I think that they've already eliminated that human from the draft this year. They're not allowing that person to be in the draft. You
Well,
cannot.
and they
That
even came out and said that they might be too old for it anyway, because I think they were like 30.
24 or something like that. Or
Oh no, I thought
I
they were I thought they were close to
they
30.
could be much older. I don't know.
Yeah,
But you could tell that guy. He kind of looks like a guy out there with a little bit longer hair. He
yeah,
looks like a male playing with a bunch of females. Um, and it's very frustrating, and it's so hard because there is this question, there is this dealing with. I mean,
yeah.
let's rewind the clock 20 years, and this wouldn't even be a question. So
No, yeah,
we'll go as far as to say that we have evolved
mhm,
over the last 20 years to
sure,
be able to even create these questions and understand the other side of it.
yes,
Donna, I hope that you understand that the questions that I'm asking and talking about here are meant to try to come to a resolution that works for everybody,
exactly.
from somebody who doesn't have any skin in that game. So, and I hope I'm trying to be understanding. I'm trying to see it not just from the shoes of the woman who is on the cusp of being able to be in the league.
Yeah,
That's who's affected here, because ultimately great players are still going to make the league.
yep,
Those people, the good players, the really really good players are still going to be in the league. It's those ones that are in seats 11 and 12, ones that uh, are that have young kids looking up to them
Mhm.
as possibly, you know, as idols and as role models. Those are the ones that I feel are going to be affected the most. That you have somebody who's done everything right, who has done everything that she's can to be there, is right on the cusp, and being on the cusp is not the easy part either. Like, listen,
Oh,
you're the 11th and 12th player. There's so many other things that could create the reason why you're not going to make it.
oh, no question. Yeah.
But you also have young children who are looking up to you and things of that nature. And then what happens to the mental portion of the person who is, in that position and then loses out to the guy from, or the human being from France? They come over to play in the WNBA and they knock that person off the team because of that. And
Yeah,
how
I
does
mean,
everybody look at that? Like, that's the harder part of that, and touching
when it
people
comes
that does
when it
not.
comes to the role model end of it though, that's different because that can be anybody. That's more of how you carry yourself and all of those things. So I mean, like you could be a trans athlete and still be a role model, but like there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's it's a very weird situation, and the way that the WNBA is handling it is making it weirder.
Agreed. And I will make this one statement that may sound somewhat controversial. However, I am in firm belief that people that are transitioning want other people on their team transitioning, so that there is a feeling that if they could have everybody start to transition, that they would, because they want others to feel what they're feeling. And that's a big challenge,
So
because I think that that's
I don't
a
know that
mental thing.
I don't know that that's true. Again, just because I have some friends that have done the entire transition, like they don't really have that. Um, like they're still the people that I knew before. Um, so they don't have anything like that. They just you know didn't feel right with who they were, and are actually way happier today. Now they're not elite athletes, so this isn't this isn't a conversation there. But by no means are they thinking other people should or anything like that. It was just right for them. And so I don't know that I can, really co-sign on that just because I have some personal experience.
Right. No, well, and that's what I'm saying. It's like this, and I can't put myself in their shoes. I am unable to do so.
Yeah.
There's only so much
Yeah,
that
no, of
I
course.
can understand, because I can only walk a block or two of the mile
Yeah.
that they have to walk, and I understand that. I can appreciate that. I just look at human nature.
Mhm.
That's your friends who are not athletes, and they did this for themselves. When you're doing this, when you're making this transition, it only needs to be for one person. It only
Yeah.
can be for one person.
Oh, no
It can
question.
only be for yourself, because if you're doing it for anybody else, then there's the wrong reason for doing it.
Yes.
How I look at this is that there is such a need for the understanding of what that person happens to be going through, and
Mhm.
then to create the situation that they are forcing this in the sports realm. That's
Yeah.
the hard part. That's where I feel that, again, the number may sound funny. I mean, and there may be an understanding that 5 years is not enough. Donna, you could be right. I'm just saying 7 years. That if you were to do, um, in the perfect scenario, which I know none of these are perfect scenarios, that
Yeah.
like on the 18th, on that person's 18th birthday, they were to make that full transition, and that means that their 25th birthday that they would be able to have play in competitive sports. I feel like that has created enough time for the
Yeah, I
body to
mean,
transition itself, because you're doing a lot of other things that
well, yeah,
force
you're doing
your body to
hormone
transition.
treatments and all that. I mean, so I guess the tough thing there is, yeah, that may work for the W, but then how do you bridge that gap for NCAA, all of that? Because for you to be good enough to get to the W, you had to have been playing somewhere.
Right. Which
So
puts
then,
you in Europe at the moment.
yeah,
And yeah, like I said, I only know of the one human in France
yeah,
that's becoming a
a real,
big deal.
yeah,
And I can't speak. I don't know where all this is going on. I mean, there's enough talking about with Griner,
yeah,
where Griner is or isn't. And again, it's not important really to know whether they are or they're not.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like this is going to not go away. And you know, I'm not a religious person.
mhm,
Um, however, this was the cause of the fall of Babylon. And if you want to go back into those types of texts and things of so on and so forth, that where the line became too blurred, and I think that's the fear, that
yeah,
there are too many religious thoughts on this. That's where this is all going to stem from. It's the
sure.
religious projection on this. And like I
Well,
said,
that's
I'm
why
not
Joe
religious,
said
so
that's why Joe said it was taboo in his neighborhood to even talk about, because he's in a religious area. So I mean,
right.
there is always that element too. And of course I brought up the NCAA because that's the feeder system to the W, right? So if this is a requirement for the W, then you have to look at where do they get their playtime coming in, because we've seen some of this in other sports already, right? And so again, like it's a very real issue. And so every league's probably going to attack it differently. It just happens the WNBA is on an interesting front running position for it.
It's interesting how they have not created this intramural sport where both men and women play
Yeah.
at the same time. That
Yeah.
there isn't teams that have both men and women playing on the court at the same time. And ultimately, until that really happens and we start to see that as real, where like if they had a summer league, where they brought the best players, where somebody invested some money and said,
Mhm.
listen, okay, now that you guys are done with the NBA, we're going to have a 1 month season. We're going to have this draft of all NBA and WNBA players, and we are going to do uh, a 6 team or an 8 team rotation of men and women teams, so
Sure.
that we're going to watch what it's like when men play against women and women play against men.
Yeah. And then what you'd have to make some rules so that there was like at least always two women on the floor or something like that. Right.
So, but you that there would, I
Maybe
don't
not
know how you'd
exactly.
make those rules. That's the worst part about this, is because how do you make those rules?
Yeah.
Like it's like if you're choosing everybody, is it like, okay, you have to have a certain level, you have to have like 6 guys, 6 women, and that's your team of 12. And I feel like that would be really interesting to see and to play. in that type of environment and to see what it's like, even in a scrimmage league situation, make it a summer league where you're having a draft and you're doing all of this, and you have Sophie Cunningham going up and trying to guard uh, Steph Curry
Sure.
because they're about the same height. Actually, Sophie's probably taller than he is. Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the types of situations that
Mhm.
we want to see. Let's see when you have the best of everybody playing, and let's get a better understanding of how the competition varies, because
Mhm.
that's the question here. Everybody could say, well, he's that the human being transitioning is much better athletes, and we've seen where, hey, the guy who was 121st in rankings as men was ranked number 2 in women's.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So there's lots of that, but those are all situations where we've seen it as individuals
Yeah.
that are in that process. We've not seen competition in any capacity where both men and women are playing. And maybe that's what we need to do. That's where you go, the 4-on-4 league. It's
Sure.
like that's so that you don't, there isn't that fifth person that makes it. You have to have 2 men, 2 women, all times.
Well, I mean, then you still run into that same situation to a degree, though, because if you have a male that transitioned, then how does that land on your roster? So, I mean, I don't know that there's a perfect answer for this.
I'm only talking about before we get into the transitioning portion,
Yeah.
what the effect is on men and women competing against each other. We don't
Yeah.
have a
Yeah. Yeah.
full
Yeah.
understanding of that in any capacity at the moment.
Sure.
We have, so like I said, the human in France, that one person in France who is doing that and dominating. We
Mhm.
have individual sports,
Yeah.
swimmers and runners and things of that nature. We've seen it in like UFC and boxing, where that guy who transitioned there
Yeah.
started to break all those girls' skulls. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just there's a lot of different things that are different sports that this has been a thing in, but we haven't witnessed in any capacity, in any real capacity, competition between men and women as a sport, as a team. And I feel like that's important to see. They don't show them because it's always been men against women. And I feel that competition is not correct.
I
Let's
mean,
watch competition with men and women together. The only sport that I know of that does anything like this at any moment in time is like intramural softball, slow pitch softball.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Where you're forced to have 2 women on the field at all times.
I mean,
You know,
if you're looking at it, women should be worried. I mean, Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year after 1 year.
I mean, yes, yes. I mean, it's funny that
Uh,
you're saying it like that, but and then
that's because it's ridiculous.
not only is it ridiculous but now even after so much time, they want to retransition
Yeah.
like that. You know, it's just so much that's happening here, and it's very frustrating because there's not a right or wrong answer yet,
Yeah.
and
Well,
society
it's because there's
as
not
a
an answer
whole is
yet.
going to right society as a whole is going to deem this one way or another, and where is that ball finally going to land?
Well, and that's where this situation with the WNBA is um, very interesting, right? I mean, you are I'm watching real close to see what it is they decide they want to do here, because that drastically changes women's sports moving forward. It either puts it to where it currently is, or it makes it so that every woman's record may not be held by a biological woman. And so that's where I look at it. It's just like, man, I hope it doesn't go that way. And it has nothing to do with trying to keep trans athletes out. It just means that women would never hold any of their own records, which seems ridiculous.
Right. Not in any real sense. And it's your team is actually one of the perfect teams to maybe, if you wanted to try that again, bringing that human over from France. You guys are not officially eliminated from the playoffs as of yet. It's funny it showed that there was still an opportunity, I guess, if you guys won out and somebody lost, or
and everybody else lost every game.
Yeah, somehow, some way. I got to imagine that it's only a matter of mathematical time before, probably even somebody just playing is going to be enough to have you go out. But if you were to have that human come on and join your team now, and all of a sudden see the difference on how your team is with that one person being different.
I mean, like if you see them drastically change in the standings, then that would be interesting. No question.
Yeah. And that ultimately, that's what's going to need to occur. We need to see that, because you need to see it one way or another. We need to see that. It could be that person comes in and they find different ways to lose.
Yeah,
correct.
No. They may have no effect. Like it's entirely possible. It feels unlikely, but again, you won't know unless they try it out. They brought this committee together to decide what's going on. So in theory, you're going to know something here relatively soon. I can't imagine this is going to take an incredible amount of time, but and it's funny because this conversation always ends up running way longer than you think it would. And some of it is you're just trying to be careful not to say things in a way you don't mean, because, again, there's nothing wrong with anybody wanting to transition. Like you do you. Like, awesome. If that makes you feel like a complete human, then that's amazing. So at the same time, we're talking about competitive sports, and that's where it gets tough. And because I didn't sleep particularly great. That's why I looked tired. And I didn't have coffee. I made it, but it was done when I was supposed to be going live. And so here we are.
I don't drink coffee.
So he just gets to live tired. Coffee doesn't have that effect on me either. I just like it. But but yeah, no, it was just a busy weekend. We had friends in from Texas, so we were hanging out with them yesterday. And so it's just a lot of running around this weekend.
Got you.
And then on the plus side, I'm already tired, and I'm not going to get home until midnight tonight. So I got that going for me.
Yeah.
Let's go. And on that note, we got to get out of here. If you are listening on every platform, be sure to like and subscribe. And of course, if you are listening on 97.3 ICU Radio, we do have some smooth jazz headed your way in case you are allowed to take a nap. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.